I want to talk about how the Black Panthers fare on this election. Donald Trump might have lucked out. I don't know. This guy's got horseshoes coming out of his mouth, and you know where they enter. I hate to be so crude, but I'm afraid that this little COVID thing that this idiot caught is going to get him over the top. I mentioned to someone who's not as wild and crazy a left-winger as many out there, saying, why are they doing this race card thing? Just dealing with boom, 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 race card, out there demonstrating about some horrible people. What's his name? Jacob Blake, George Floyd, who killed himself with an overdose of fentanyl, and topped that off. He had a lethal dose. He topped it off with methamphetamines, and methamphetamines are supposed to make fentanyl even more lethal. So that's not to excuse the guy who had his knee on his neck, like it was very bad optics, and he probably should have been fired. The other three should not have been fired at all. The other three cops involved in the whole deal. And understand, I am not an apologist for cops. You should have seen me when the city parachuted me into the cop shop here for a couple of years. Man, oh man, was I bummed. But, anyway. Yeah, so one of the first things they show on this Black Panther documentary is the Black Panthers start, what they do is, cruise around the streets, and the guys are saying, man, we're checking out the sisters. And I understand when I use that ebonics, I'm part African American, okay? So please, spare me the accusations and all that sort of stuff, okay? Now, and what they were doing is if they saw someone getting hassled by the blacks, this is the 60s, and boy, oh boy, it happened back then, there's no doubt about it. And what they do is they'd have their guns, right? And they just, they'd have their guns kind of here. They were talking about kind of fanning it across the cops and stuff like that. And wow, well, that shouldn't be allowed. According to the American Constitution, I guess they're allowed, so long as they're not, it doesn't matter who, to lug guns around, so long as they're not concealed. I don't think they should be allowed to lug them if they're loaded, but I don't know how that's going to be interpreted. Frankly, that the law should be changed so people shouldn't be able to lug guns around unless they're allowed, unless they are serving some sort of law enforcement function. So anyway, not soon after that, this would have been 1967, they go up from Oakland to Sacramento, just a little bit north and a little bit northeast, and they walk right into the state capitol, which is the legislature. And one guy's boasting, Ronald Reagan, who was then governor of California, was 10 feet away from us. I don't know, he might have been exaggerating somewhat, but close, absolutely close. I think Ronald Reagan was elected governor of California 66.
I forgot to talk about that part.
It's important. Yeah. This is the key thing.
Yeah, it's the key thing.
So Ronald Reagan would have just been some dumb flunky, but he stands them down. You got Elridge Cleaver, this guy, getting up there. Ronald Reagan's a pussy and a coward and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he was challenging him to a fight.
Yeah, to a fight with guns and stuff like that, even with marshmallows. And I'm going, you stupid idiot. You didn't see Ronald Reagan peeing his pants and running and hiding in the state capitol toilet or something like that. You didn't see him cutting and running, did you?
No.
So that to me is kind of like courage. I understand. I hate Reagan's guts. Or when they were alive. They're probably pretty stinky right now, down in the grave. Maybe
people.
Yeah, I don't know how it works out. There was this big battle, a medieval battle, where they dug it up a little bit, and they found out it was that so many people have been killed. It was still kind of, there was a bad.
Really?
Yep.
Odd.
And, I don't know how that happened, because you think they're living ravens and junk like that, birds that not prey, but carrion birds would have been just chomping down and stuff. Maybe there's just too much for them to. They just got sick of the food. Anyway, so how did Reagan make his? How did he make his? He's just a state figure at this point in time. It's kind of like 1 year, in his first year of his little regime there as governor. Well, he made it on law and order. And of course, all he's got to do is say, look at how I stood these idiots down. And they were boasting about how they were fanning.
They're doing the advertising for him.
They're doing the advertising for him.
Media, and they're in the PBS thing. They're talking about how the media was promoting them or whatever. And it's like, no, that's not what the media. You're just telling the media all sorts of things that can be used to get jerks like Nixon elected.
And of course, 67, this is when it happens with Ronald Reagan. Richard Nixon gets elected in 68. What's he yelling and screaming about? Law and order! Left-wingers got Richard Nixon elected. It wasn't just blacks, it was white people. Stupid, dumb hippies. Or hippies were more like apolitical, but people that were kind of on the fringe. Like out there demonstrating.
Yeah.
Hey, demonstrate. Don't have a riot, you stupid idiots. Demonstrate. When you demonstrate that you're civilized human beings.
Oh, yeah, it's
and
like
I'm talking about whites more than blacks.
Sure, it's
the
like
stupid idiots like Abby Hoffman and Jerry Rubin.
Like recently
idiots.
in Canada, the police officer that was killed, and then the CBC clip that was played was something like, we're peaceful demonstrators or something like that.
Well, someone's yelling. Well, this wasn't in Canada. This is in the United States.
In the United States.
Yeah. Of course. I don't think you were hearing it, but the CBC plays them. This is a peaceful demonstration. But it turns out during that demonstration, a cop gets killed. Well, that's not my definition of peaceful. It's pretty serious. So, demonstrate, but for Pete's sake, be sensible. Be like Greenpeace. Greenpeace, by using a little bit of humor and stuff like that, they were able to get it so that at least for a while, it was unpopular and unfashionable to be wearing furs.
Yeah,
Somewhere or another they don't do this stupid thing like, hey, LBJ, how many kills did you kill today? I can only hear stuff like that so many times before I just turn off. You can imagine what people like on the fence are like. What are you going to say?
Honestly, I think the only people that bring back stuff like fur coat wearing and stuff like that are like gangster rappers. Honestly, nobody wants
Don't
to wear
get me started.
Anymore, do they?
Defund hip hop, please. Defund a lot of things. Like refund maybe cops. Okay, like they shouldn't be called out when it's someone that's obviously schizophrenic or something like that. But it's a little bit hard to tell with George Floyd. People are going to say it's obviously PTSD. Really? Okay. It's obvious that he's What was some idiot saying? That it was claustrophobic. Well, he was lying about a lot of things. How do you know he's claustrophobic? People lie. The clerk that was handling George Floyd said he was obviously intoxicated. Like if someone's intoxicated, that's different than if they're schizophrenic or something like that. Maybe it isn't for you. Maybe you think that being
well, hello.
Wow, Calvin chased the little one away. But
I don't know which one was pecked the window this morning. Somebody pecked the window right where I was sitting. They knew where I was, and they pecked the window to try to get my attention.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, the bird feeder must be empty.
Yeah.
But I checked it, and it's full. But they were out of sunflower seeds here, so I put they love it. So I put the sunflower seeds, and they're happy now.
Yeah. So, like this, speaking of loving that stuff, and like they had one black guy, one Black Panther, talking about, maybe I should say African American. I'm not sure what the politically correct term is. African American is probably out of style, out of fashion. But they showed, it's one of the most embarrassing moments in John Lennon's life, I think. He's introducing on some sort of talk show. Oh, yeah, here's Bobby Seale or something like that. Stupid John Lennon. And like, he's a sharp guy, but this is his bad political period around 1972. And of course, Yoko's there doing her thing. And they have Jane Fonda hanging with them. I don't know if they showed Jean Seberg. Was that her name? Some lousy actress from Hollywood. Actor, I'll say, from Hollywood. Who else did they have hanging with them? But anyway, one Black Panther, former Black Panther, was saying, man, those Hollywood stars, they love this shit. They eat this shit up. And I'm going, yeah, it is shit. And they were, the Rolling Stones. One thing they left out of this Black Panther thing was Angela Davis. But the Rolling Stones, 1972, Exile on Main Street, singing about Angela Davis. Got a sweet black angel, got a pin-up girl. Pin-up girl, what's that about? She must have been absolutely insulted, because I think she was a feminist as well. Mick Jagger. Well, I'm really cool. Maybe it's being ironic. I don't think so.
Like my ex, he would always say, I love women. And I had my best friend, she'd laugh, right? Because she laughed at him a lot. She recognized that he was actually not a feminist. No.
Yeah. Anyway.
So it might have been that sort of thing.
So the Black Panthers are bad. I think the people that are involved with Black Lives Matter are more misguided. I don't think they're not lugging guns around and doing all sorts. Like throwing bombs in the streets when people come to arrest them and so on and so forth. But they're extremely misguided. Like you are putting up as poster figures people that are really, really divisive, really provocatively so. So I was going to mention it. I was talking to someone a while back saying, they can't be doing this. In this election, the election is not, Biden's 10 points ahead. Well, right now, Biden's 8 points ahead, and that's as of last Friday. And I'm afraid, Trump's going to come out of this and look, he's already saying, did you know he was saying, like, I'm just showing you, don't fear COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
He's only got the best medical care perhaps in the world,
Yeah.
Wow. Like if you're some white trash idiot from Michigan or Ohio or from Kentucky, don't fear it, because you've got the best medical care in the world. 37th or 38th or something like that, and you don't have medical coverage. You're a gonzo rapunzel, or at least your parents are, your grandparents. Good luck with that. Yeah. But, I'm afraid he's going to parlay it. And the most important thing, even if Trump doesn't manage to cheat his way into a second term, the Senate is where it's at. You can get Joe Biden is sitting up there in the presidential throne, or whatever they call it, the Oval Office, and he wants to get things passed, and he's got to get it by I hope the House of Representatives is still Democrat, but let's say the Senate is still majority Republican. He's got to get through both houses, and it doesn't work. Obama, it didn't work, and so the Senate just stomped everything that he wanted to get through. So what did he do? He used presidential orders, or whatever they call it. And then Donald Trump, he got hold of that, and he just took it to the, I won't say the extreme, because the extreme is doing presidential orders is just an executive presidency, which is a dictatorship.
So honestly, what I think is happening right now is I think it is outside. Well, I think it's obvious that it's outside influence from other countries, encouraging people to get out and protest about racism and all sorts of stuff.
I'd like to know how much Russian hacking and how much Chinese hacking was involved in building this up about George Floyd.
If you listen to CBC, and you can hear which the coverage by various people, and make up your mind for yourself, and really pay attention to what's going on right now, and what people are standing where, what they're encouraging other people to think, and at what time. It's interesting because back then you had a bunch of people that were aggressive, dangerous people, and most people over the age of 25 would see them as such, would see them as dangerous and aggressive and a threat to democracy, and a threat to just
progressive movements.
Yeah,
a threat to progressive.
But a lot of countries in the world are not led by people who actually believe in democracy at all.
The majority, vast majority of countries, 2/3.
A lot of those governments, dictators, want to encourage democracies to fall. So,
starting with Putin, but same thing with the People's Republic of China.
Right now with a lot of different people. And there's countries out there, they believe in democracy until they get power, and then it stops. Then they just want to have a dictatorship because they're having enough children that they will be able to vote in the leadership that they want, which is a dictatorship, and it doesn't. It certainly won't give power to the people. It'll give power to a certain segment of the population, and the rest of the people will really, really suffer.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people that believe in democracy. How is it? Someone was characterizing a particular part of the world. I'm not going to mention what, but this guy said they believe in democracy. And what is it for them? One man or one person. He said one man. One vote, one time. One time. And then it's set in stone, and it's a dictatorship. It tends to be, in this part of the world, religious dictatorships that are preferred by the people who believe in that kind of democracy. But there we go. And so it's been that way in one country since 1979. And these stupid Americans, they've been going along, both right and left wing, saying, you know, they've got a democracy movement. What they do is they actually have votes for their president. But the trouble is, the candidates who run for president have to be approved by the religious leaders. Well, you know, like they had votes like that in the Soviet Union. Only you had to be approved, if not belong to, the Communist Party. Big deal, you know. Like you're not. That's not democracy. So you should be able to figure out what country I'm talking about. Okay.
So anyway,
that's about it. I'm sick and tired.
But it's a great documentary. It's definitely worth watching. I mean, we gave a long talk.
A long talk, but you know, like it's coming down to crunch time. It's about a month, the American election. It's I don't know what's going to happen. I'm sick. It's hard for me to sleep.